Vegeta had been training his body for weeks. The power had been attacking his potential to finally surpass Goku. It had destroyed all the chances he'd ever had. His family's disappointment was growing, as Vegeta's faith to keep his royal title alive was fading. All he needed was guidance from someone with the answer. He just wanted to prove the ritual wasn't needed. But Vegeta was hitting a brick wall. He'd run dry of new ideas to even match what Goku had been handed. All Vegeta was doing, though, was trusting the same power he had for years. But never had it left the gap between him and Goku so far before.
May I be so bold? I'd like to offer you a bit of advice.
We suggested that Vegeta cancel all his current training, to ignore the knowledge that had gotten Vegeta anywhere close to becoming the strongest. It would make him the only Saiyan able to avoid the most dangerous mistake of their race.
Is this truly the best I can do?
Whis realized this might sound like giving up, but it was far from that. It was an awakening. The true balance of Saiyan forms was coming within reach because of Vegeta's struggles. Whis expected enthusiasm. Because even though Vegeta could never go beyond the levels of Goku, at least he would be the one dodging the greatest accident Saiyans had ever made. Whis could understand the reason behind relying on a power boost. For the Saiyans to know so badly that there's a greater version of themselves waiting to be found, but to use an easier path to the same result instead. It's exhilarating, instantly transforming the body into a fighting machine. But Whis decided to challenge that concept. What benefit? Brag because of it? Defeat bad people using it? The dangers would still be scattered around them like traps. And now, they had been set. They were the forms of a Super Saiyan.
They've become dependent on it, and it masks the roots of their shortcomings.
Blind themselves from their true weaknesses, or never reach the ultimate goal embedded in the roots of their race.
All of our techniques against us. Perfection.
The choice didn't seem hard to make. One option outweighed the other by a ton.
And I won't watch this anymore!
Until Gohan came along. They didn't have to use forms as they knew them. Just maybe Gohan had already shown Saiyans didn't need a special form at all.
Choice. I have to do it now.
But even he found the Super Saiyan vital for survival. Even outsiders could tell.
Really might end up killing them. You could at least let them do their little Super Saiyan business.
This ability was too natural for them not to use.
Right now, relying on the Super Saiyan boost would get in the way.
The connection between a Saiyan and their form wasn't as helpful as it looked. Firstly, those forms were actually harming them. And secondly, even Goku and Vegeta already knew they had been using their powers all wrong.
I haven't told them not to go Super Saiyan, yet they've both chosen not to, on their own. I believe they progressed so far in such little time. I'm beginning to understand what Beerus sees in these Saiyans.
But old habits are hard to forget completely. And forgetting this Super Saiyan was starting to look like the worst possible decision they could make.
Scumbag Frieza has come back to life somehow, and I'm looking at him right now! He brought a whole army with him, and we're in serious trouble!
Our monkey's wearing even bigger breeches.
Avoiding their original upgrades just wasn't something that could be done. It was their only option if they were going to be able to protect. And there was no way the Saiyans wouldn't continue improving the same forms they had always used. But there was one major difference. With a total change to the basics of their training, a more than certain expectation was a total change to the end result as well. But what showed up as an enhanced state of their original forms eventually turned out to be the same mistake, an improvement or not. Goku showed that they had become just as dependent on Super Saiyan Blue as any of their old forms. And what was worse, Gohan had pushed him into using it without a traditional Super Saiyan form, just like another group of Saiyans had once been attempting to do themselves.
However, they're hired to battle the bad guys and defend other worlds from the forces of evil.
But the great advantage of the Super Saiyan power became too much for even a peaceful Saiyan to ignore. No other ability had ever increased powers to such a higher level, or in such a short amount of time. To not just help a Saiyan become stronger, but to help them completely avoid the risks of losing their life. The Saiyan mistake was being transferred to the next generation.
I will.
But this Saiyan transformation was different from the rest.
Once the fight is over, I'm going to blow your stupid planet Sadala to smithereens!
There was no risk to lose his life, only the risk to others. Next to no training was necessary for this Saiyan to become super.
Not bad! In my natural state, we're evenly matched!
Cabba was on the verge of becoming the only Saiyan to have ever met the true balance that would lead to the full potential Whis had once introduced to Vegeta. But the exhilarating power boost was too much for the Saiyans of Universe 7 to ignore. To expect a different outcome just because Cabba came from a different universe, the true progression of the Saiyans would definitely be lost again.
宇宙の存亡をかけて戦うことになるなんて。
If these Saiyans were going to compete for the life of their universe, they would probably need a very quick boost that they could depend on. Super Saiyan forms were pretty good at providing such an enhancement. They would be ignoring their true weaknesses by reaching this higher power. But no matter how they looked at it, more strength equaled a better chance of surviving. Those quick learning Saiyans, how easy it was for them to take each form to its next level. How naive they were. The safety net these forms had become for them. How useless that net became, as another Saiyan found himself depending once again. Depending? But this seemed way more similar to the balance that was almost learned by Cabba and Goku's own son. to the talents they had achieved just by staying in their natural state.
Not bad! In my natural state, we're evenly matched!
Having learned through his new training how to rely only on his base form, like the two young Saiyans before him, Goku had pushed the progress of his potential much faster and way further than he had with any traditional power upgrade. But even Ultra Instinct had become available so quickly for a mortal through the Super Saiyan form's main trait, the risk of losing life. The Saiyan race still had yet to learn their lesson. Through the improvements of a different type of what was still a Super Saiyan form, the technique Goku should not have been able to reach was able to keep enhancing. And when the moment came for taking Ultra Instinct to its highest level, Goku had abandoned the key trait of a Super Saiyan form.
恐れもその炎の中でムード管理感じられるのは己とあり
By pushing his limits with the risk of losing his life absent from his mind, his new mastered form betrayed him in the way Whis always knew the Saiyan forms were capable of doing. If only he had remembered to rely only on his base. But now, a new Saiyan has arrived. One with a base that can compete with much higher levels than any other Saiyans has before. Like the Universe 6 Saiyans had done before Kaba met his counterparts from another universe. It seems Broly has used a natural state much more than any other. Goku, still relying on the form that originally was teaching him to train instead without any boost at all, finds himself facing that mistake of the Saiyan race again. And in a single moment, Goku will see that the true potential of the Saiyan race is found in avoiding their traditional forms only until it's crucial.